pour it in too fast so that it runs down the machine. Okay, what a mess. Bob here, Chopper Bob Customs, and today I'm doing a little bit of repair work on the air compressor. Since this was new, I've kind of felt like it had an air leak, but I could never identify it. And then the other day when I was working on Uncle Dirtbag's 60 Chevy Apache 10, it wouldn't quit running. And I came over and checked it out, and it was at 130 psi and wouldn't go any higher. And what I thought I'd heard as an air leak before was now a very loud air leak, and I traced it down and found out that a gasket, this is the cooler that goes from the compressor through this line to the top of the tank, the check valve in the top of the tank. And as you can see, I think, the gasket is blown out down here at the bottom. And hindsight being 2020, I think probably what I should have done through the years was go through and check the bolts to make sure they were tight. Did not do that. But the compressor is about 10 years old now. It's a Harbor Freight unit, US General. Harbor Freight has stopped selling them. This is actually my second Harbor Freight one. It'll probably be the well, I have another Harbor Freight one, a small one, but I'll be covering why I probably won't be buying another compressor from Harbor Freight in the future in another video that I'm going to be doing here shortly, so keep your eye open for that. I'm going to do a review on one of their products and their store policies. So at any rate, so what I'm going to do is I'm seeing some degradation of the gasket. I believe this is the valve assembly underneath the head. I'm seeing some stick out on the gasket material on that, so I think I'm probably gonna have some issues there. And it is 10 years old, so the reed valves are probably in pretty bad shape. I'm gonna pull it apart and see what I got in there, and I'm also gonna be taking off the transfer tube. Now this is a two-cycle or a two-stage pump. It was the better one at the time. It has a large, high-volume, low-pressure pump that takes the air from the intake into it, and then it passes it to the back cylinder, which you can't really see from where you're looking, which is a small diameter cylinder. Which takes and brings it up to potentially 175 psi. I believe this one, yeah, it was set at 150, but this pump is actually capable of 175 when it's in good operating condition. Right now, it won't go over 130 because of this blown gasket. And so, hopefully, since Harbor Freight, this compressor actually was built in the European Union, so it was probably, I don't remember whether Poland was in the EU at the time, but I know that they did build a lot of stuff over there. So it's not actually a Chinese pump, which would be common from Harbor Freight, but it is a EU. It says right on there, made in EU, or maybe that's the town in China that it was built in. We shall see. At any rate, so let's get started tearing it apart. We'll go fast speed here and play you some music. Yeah, I am seeing where there was some degradation of the gasket material. I'm also seeing some oil blow by. So I may need to look at this a little bit closer. Anyway, we'll get this taken apart, and on the plus side, here in the Oklahoma City area, we do have a compressor store that not only has parts lists, but they are also very open to matching stuff up if they can't identify the part number. So Robin has had some experience with them being able to match up parts for air compressors that he's worked on. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll be able to find the parts and get this compressor back to running correctly. And if not, this video will probably never see the light of day. Parts came in for the compressor. I'm back at work on it. I want to give a big shout out and thanks to the folks down at General Compressor down in Oklahoma City. They normally don't deal with this type of compressor, but they have access to a lot of parts, and they helped me out considerably on making sure that I got the right parts for this compressor. It's not what they usually do. They're usually into big industrial type compressors, nice ones, the ones I'd like to have, but right now that's not in the picture. But listen, if you're in the Oklahoma City area and you need some compressor parts, or if you're in an industrial application looking for some good compressors, you need to go see the guys at General Compressor. Like I said, they're good folks. They helped me out a lot. I mean, this obviously was not in their wheelhouse, but they took care of me on it, got me the right parts. I think it was a good price. Had them shipped in. I didn't have to pay for shipping. All I had to pay for was the Oklahoma sales tax. That's another story altogether. But basically, the gaskets blew on it, and so, but it's been 10 years. It's 10 years old. This reed plate, I think they say you should replace them like every couple years or something like that. It's been 10. It's still holding up. I figured, well, I got it apart. I'm going to get that taken care of. So they got me a brand new set of valves, reeds, and it comes with the gasket that goes in between them, and so that'll go in there. And then they also got both of the head gaskets. The first one does not have any dividers in it. Looks like okay, so the one that goes next to the cylinder does not have any dividers in it. So it goes up there just like that. And then the valve plate goes on it. Now, I looked at it, and basically the inlet's over here and the outlet's over here, and if you flip it over, the inlet's over here and the outlet's over there. Let's see, how did they have it? That's the side that, this is the side that had the divider on it. So this is the top side. That's the way that I'm going to tell, because basically I can see where I cleaned the gasket off right through the center of it, and that is identical to that. And if you flip it over, that is identical to that. So this is the top side. So and then the gasket that goes on the top of that does have the dividers in it. This is the intake side, this is the exhaust side. It feeds around to the intake side and then the exhaust side. So that'll go on there just like that. And then the head goes on. And obviously you've got a big piston and a small piston, and there's that divider that divides the intake from the exhaust, and then it goes through the tube, which they call a heat exchanger, over to this side over here, and then you have another heat exchanger that bolts onto right here. So we'll put that up in there like that, and now we'll get the bolts. Okay, 6 head bolts. And what I'm going to do is I've got just a little bit of oil, and so I'm going to put just a dab on the threads and a dab under the head so that I get proper torque. Let's see if I can find all the holes. Alright, so with that, all I've done now is I've snugged them down. I'm going to go get the torque wrenches. Okay, now I'll be honest with you, chances are you could probably tighten these up by hand and be in good shape. But truth of the matter is I'm probably just a little overcautious with it. I went out online, the torque spec is 18 to 20 foot-pounds. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and run them all down to 10 foot-pounds, which is 120 inch-pounds, and then I'll come back and torque them up to the 18 to 20. There was no pattern specified, but I'm going to start at the middle and kind of work out in a circular pattern. Pound wrench, get them up to 18 to 20. So the transfer tube, or what they call the heat transfer tube, has round holes, and there's 2 of those. And so I'm going to put those in. Those go here and here. Now, one thing I found when I had this out, I took a file and went across the mating surfaces of these heat transfer tubes and discovered that the head was really not flat on most of them. And so what I did was I cleaned them up to get them a little bit flatter. Came across with the file on the mating flanges with the idea that where the heat transfer, the actual one that has the heat exchanger on it, where it goes into the tank, it had a very bad dip at the bottom, and that is where the gasket blew. That's what basically started all of this. So these I think I determined these are the same size, and so basically I'm going to go with the same torque. Lubricating the backs of the heads and the threads, just a little dab of light oil. Okay, so this is the cooler, and its gasket has a rectangular opening. And of course, attached to it is the copper tube that then goes into the check valve in the top of the tank. And what I'm hoping to do in the near future is get a roll of copper tubing and take this transfer tube out and run a tube down into a coil in a bucket so that I can have an ice water cooler, and then bring it up hopefully into a standpipe so that it will drain any water that collects down to the bottom of the standpipe, and dry air will come out of the top. We'll see if I get that done. It's on my bucket list. But for now, I'm going to be putting it back together in stock formation. We have mud daubers here in Oklahoma, so that's why I was careful to cover every opening up with masking tape, because I didn't want to have mud daubers or anything like that living in my tubing when I fire up my compressor. I may have just found another leak. I think I'm going to take this over to the bench and see what I can do about getting another full turn on this, because it's loose right there. This compressor, from the day it was new, I was concerned that it had some air leaks, and I probably should have checked it then, but here I am 10 years later taking care of it. I'm going to pause this and go see if I can't get this snugged up. Okay, they were loose. And it's probably been that way since it was new. I should have probably checked it. I guess the moral of this story is, if you think you've got a leaky compressor, you need to go through and find the leak when it's brand new. I've probably been wasting electricity for the last 10 years keeping this one leaking. But yeah, I tightened up the adapter bushing about one full turn, and I tightened up the actual tube adapter 2 full turns. So yeah, this was probably leaking some air, and it could have done it from heating and cooling, but I always had kind of a gut feeling that I was losing air in this compressor, and it is quite possible that I was. Now, where did I put my sock? I have to do something a little different. Gonna pause this. It's gonna take a while for this oil to drain out of it. Okay, I broke for lunch. Let it drain. Got all the old oil out of it. I made sure that the breather was free and clear. So get a funnel and get the compressor oil, and we should be good to go. Okay. So now I'm going to put in AMSOIL commercial grade compressor oil, SAE 30/40, and we're going to fill it up to the point where it's just in that red circle on the fill indicator. Okay, what I was attempting to say before I poured oil everywhere was that AMSOIL, like a lot of oil companies, they don't just make one product and then stick different labels on it. So our compressor oil is designed for air compressors, non-foaming, no friction modifiers, oil that is designed to work in harsh environments. Usually these things run pretty hot, so it needs to be for a high temperature type situation. It's like our small engine oil. Our small engine oil, a lot of manufacturers will just take their car oil and they'll slap a small engine oil sticker on it and tell you it's small engine oil. We actually have petroleum engineers employed at our Wisconsin facility that design each type of oil for the service that it's going into. Small engine oil runs at a fairly constant RPM, usually fairly hot because it's an air-cooled engine, and in dirty environments because you're mowing the lawn, tilling the soil with them. So that's one of the things about AMSOIL is that we actually design the product for the application, and then it's full synthetic. I mean, it's great oil. I've been using it since the 70s. We've been around since 72. If you want more information on it, click the link down in my comments or in the what's this video about section and go see the line of products that AMSOIL offers. Now, let's see if I think what I'm going to do is put this into a smaller container. Okay, we're halfway up the little red circle on the indicator there. So with that, I will go ahead and close everything up. And once again, I managed to spill more oil, so I have to clean up the mess I've made. Okay, so there's only a few things left to do. One, when I'm done out here in the shop today, I'm going to go into amsoil.com, reference 5515533, and I'm going to go into AMSOIL My Garage, and I'm going to record that I put fresh oil in this compressor on today's date. And then I'm going to set up a reminder for myself that will send me an email a year from now that it's time to change the oil in the compressor again. Of course, I've also got to let everyone know that I've got the First and Synthetics AMSOIL in my compressor. And so then all that really remains, now that I've got it put back together, let's see if I can get some of the spilled oil. Man, I got oil everywhere. It's not AMSOIL's fault, this is my fault. I just got carried away. So here we go. Okay. I've got a pressure relief valve that's getting a little bit touchy over here. I'm probably going to have to replace that sooner or later. But I'm back in business with air and I don't feel any leaks. And it gets up over 130 psi, which it wouldn't do the other day when this gasket had blown. So I think we're in good shape. Hopefully I can get another 10 years out of it. I'm halfway up on the circle on the oil level. So with that, please subscribe to the videos. Please like, tell your friends, comment, set the notification bell so that you're notified when new videos come up. And until then, thanks for watching Chopper Bob. Like I said, check the links out below. I'll have the links for General Compressor, the guys that fixed me up with the parts to repair this one. And I'll have the links for the AMSOIL products, so you can go out and see what all we offer in the way of AMSOIL. And even if you're not an AMSOIL customer, you can use the AMSOIL My Garage to set up your service records so that you'll know when, it'll send you an email telling you when it's time to change the oil. I've got everything that we have in that AMSOIL My Garage. I've got, I'll have this compressor now, which I should have done a long time ago. All three of our vehicles, both of our mowers, our weed eater, our generators, our tiller, our log splitter. It's all in there, and I get a reminder by email when it's time to change the oil on it. And it keeps a record of your equipment. You don't have to buy AMSOIL products. You should buy AMSOIL products, but you can use the AMSOIL My Garage whether you're a customer or not. But click on that link in the what's this video about section. And if you got any comments, be sure and leave them. And if you got any questions about AMSOIL or compressors or anything else I'm doing here, be sure to put them in the comments, and I try and get back to people that post things in there that I need to answer them. So at any rate, thanks for watching. And until next time, Chopper Bob out.